Welcome, everyone, to the Mercedes-Benz Rangers postgame show as the Rangers tonight blank the Pittsburgh Penguins 3-0. Great to have you with us from our Delta MSG studios. Bill Pito along with Steve Alaquette. So, Steve, that's 3 wins for the Rangers over Pittsburgh since March 25th. They were dominant tonight. They had one of their best wins of the year against Pittsburgh in their last meeting. What is it about this matchup that has allowed the Rangers to be so successful?
Well, I think it's the level of seriousness of the game. And in the first period, the Rangers didn't rush to dictate what type of game they wanted to play. I thought that was okay. Both teams just felt each other out. They didn't rush to anything, and they didn't have any risk in their game. And I think when the game started going, it was a moment in the first period that was a little bit problematic where the Rangers were on the power play and they weren't able to get in. 3 unsuccessful exits into the zone. Now, they didn't get frustrated, and that was the good news for me because it's very easy when you're on the power play and you've been as successful as the Rangers have been this year, and you can't get in, you can't get set up, you don't have any feel yet, but it didn't frustrate them. I thought they were very coachable in this game. They were very good at dictating the game as it went along, and then they didn't take any risks when they got up. This was a game that it would frame very well as a playoff game.
Now, does this translate? Because this very well could be a first-round playoff matchup.
100%.
It does carry over.
Sends a message. You know, it sends a message. They're hard to play against. I thought the Rangers defended the front of their net very well. They've really reduced the rush chances against. Shesterkin was explosive. And this is where I was worried earlier about Shesterkin was just the amount of games that he's playing. He's at a career high for games. I mean, I'm watching games around the league last night. I'm seeing Vasilevsky down early. I'm seeing Markstrom down early and late. Jari was late across on the first pass on the Panarin goal. And you start to see these themes in the goalies, and this is where it starts. It's goalie defense through the middle of the ice with the centerman that you need the most strength to be successful in the playoffs. And I was getting worried that maybe Shesterkin was breaking down a little bit, and tonight he was back to being explosive, and I think he inspired the rest of the group.
So here's what we got in the standings. Rangers 98 points, Pittsburgh 92, Carolina 98, right now playing Buffalo. So as we speak, Rangers are tied for first in the Metro Division. You talk about Shesterkin. The save percentage before tonight in his last 9 starts, .866.
Yeah.
Still leads the league overall in save percentage. Has struggled in the last 9. Specifically, what was different from him tonight?
So here's the thing. One of the things that's really changed for goalies in the NHL is they're getting down into what we call the reverse VH. When he gets down to the post, most goalies use it and, quite frankly, overuse it when the puck gets low. The problem with that is you're getting up and down, I would say 70, 75 more times than what would a goalie do 10 years earlier. So you can get fatigue in your game. And then when the pass is made, if you see him getting out there late to set his feet, or if he's going down too early or staying down too long, those are usually signs that you would see with fatigue. That's what I've seen recently. I watched the game the morning after, and if I'm pausing my computer spacebar and I'm going frame by frame, he's looked a little bit off. And right back to tonight where he's explosive again, I mean, I get excited about that because I know how important his role is to this team, and he has to be not just stopping the puck, but controlling the puck for the D to sort it out and get the team up ice. Both goals tonight were goals that were sorted out in their zone and went the full length of the ice to score. Everything happens with defense and goaltending. The playoff success will hinge on it. It's nice to see him back.
Worth pointing out the Pens tonight without Sidney Crosby, a non-COVID related illness. The acquisitions around the trade deadline. Frank Vatrano, Andrew Kopp. We saw Tyler Mott come out with what looked like some type of upper body injury in that third period. But Vatrano's been such a good fit. Do you think the expectation when they got him was that he was going to slot on the top line?
Now, you would say that his skill set, they would have thought was going to slot perfectly because he's got speed, he's a shooter, he's a guy that's able to get into positioning very well, he's got good hockey sense, he's scored at every level. So I think that they know that they're playing with elite people. Now, start with an elite reverse. This is where Fox would be saying to Shesterkin, reverse it. Now you get to come up the other side of the ice and you've got some space. Fox makes a great pass here, 75 feet in distance. Kreider, watch what happens here. He falls into the goaltender, and I think accidentally on purpose puts his arm out there, and the puck actually ricochets off his elbow, which really throws Jari off. He's not able to track the pass, and Vatrano scores. But we were talking about this before the game. the 8 goals that Jarry got beat on against Colorado, 4 were off of really awkward, broken plays. And there's another one right there. He's having a tough run. That's really good news for the Rangers, though. You know, Jarry's game's also really taken a step back in this last quarter of the season. And if you have Pittsburgh and you're going head-to-head with Pittsburgh, you know, you're taking a bite out of what they are, because Jarry, for the first 3 parts of the season, was one of the better goalies in the league.
Vatrano's goal there. First goal of the game, 24 seconds into the second period after a scoreless first period. Vatrano's played 12 games as a Ranger, now has 6 goals as a Ranger. What is it about his skill set that makes it seem like he is really good with Zibanejad and Kreider?
I think that when you were looking for somebody, you were looking for somebody to complement what you already have. So you have an elite passer in Zibanejad, and you have an elite net front guy in Kreider that takes a lot of space and a lot of attention away from the other defenders. And when you can open up lanes for Vatrano, that's really what you're doing. Even on that goal, you could see how Kreider brings people towards him. He's a heavy player. He goes in, and I mean, I think that Pittsburgh could have had a case for goalie interference there. They didn't seem to think they had a shot at it. But regardless, Kreider will open up ice like that. And who's the guy that's the beneficiary? It's Vatrano. And he's a finisher. Like, Bill, you go back to looking at this guy where he played collegiate hockey in the American Hockey League. He had 20 in the NHL. You know, the guy can score. These last 2 shortened seasons, he would have hit 20. He's a 20-goal guy that doesn't get the respect around the league yet. But if he's playing frontline minutes with Zibanejad and Kreider through a playoff run, he'll make a name for himself.
All right, so that's 1-0. Later in the period, Artemi Panarin, who's got a career high in assists with 65 assists this year, his 20th goal. And we were watching, it was an incredible backhander that you say you haven't seen all year.
Not from him. Not from him. And it was nice to see, right? We've seen it a few times from Adam Fox. So that was something that we saw. But once again, important to note, no Sidney Crosby in this game. So a lot of faceoffs I thought Shesterkin took to slow the game down that allowed his team puck possession when they won those faceoffs. And then you go wide again, 5 guys, 75-foot stretch pass again to Kopp. Now Panarin and Strome, they run their routes to the net. This is where Jarry, I think he's tired. He goes down early here, should have stood up. If he came across on his feet on the first one, he would have been okay on the second. You get 3 Penguins trying to help their goaltender get caught deep. And then the backhand, of course, is the finish. But that's specifically my point. When you start to see goalies hit the deck early like that, get down. He should have came across on his feet if it was a more energetic, more rested Jarry. You would have seen that earlier in the season. Now he's going down a little bit earlier, and it's a little bit easier now because you've got the possession of the puck for Panarin with time, space, and you're reading off that goalie and you're seeing him go up and down, and that's why he quickly shot it backhand upstairs.
Meantime, Shesterkin, 4th shutout of the year, 30 saves. What was it about how the Rangers played in front of him that helped the Rangers record the shutout?
I thought that, look, and this would be on the dry erase board for Gerard Gallant as well as for Mike Sullivan. Who is going to win the net front game? Who's going to win the net front battle? This is playoff hockey. It's going to get hard in front. And I thought the Rangers did a really nice job of defending the front of their net. They were engaged in battles. They were on the right side of the puck. They didn't allow anybody to come in and really have their way on second or third chances. And they were there for those one-and-dones. You can see Adam Fox in really good position there. It's a one-and-done play. And then when the play does come to the net, you've got a strong goaltender that covers the lower part of the net as well as Shesterkin does. And there's a battle right at the end of the game. So the Rangers were engaged physically from a technical standpoint. They were demanding in front of the net, and I thought commanded the front of their net and were a little bit more aggressive in front of Pittsburgh's than Pittsburgh was ever able to establish in front of their net. So they won the night.
All right, I mentioned the standings. I got to ask you, Steve, if Carolina right now is playing Buffalo, the Rangers right now are tied with Carolina. Given how well the Rangers are playing Pittsburgh, if the Rangers win the division, they're not playing Pittsburgh in the first round. I mean, I know you play to win, but did that factor into the thinking at all?
No, never. The players will never waver with that. They don't care if it's going to be the Tampa Bay Lightning or the Pittsburgh Penguins. I mean, here's the thing. Tampa Bay's not playing that well anyway. I don't know how many people have watched Tampa Bay recently, but watched their game last night. They were garbage. So they're not playing well. I'm serious. They're not playing well at all.
That was a rousing vote of confidence for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
And you should see Vasilevsky. He's playing smaller than Bill right now. He's down here
That's
going
impossible.
Like
That's impossible.
I mean, they don't have their best stuff right now. So, hey, look, if you're a New York Ranger fan or you're somebody internally, bring it on, anybody. Honestly, we'll play anybody. I'm sure that's what their mindset is.
Carolina Buffalo right now 3-3 with about 10 minutes to go. We'll keep you posted on that.